ഹലോ ഫ്രണ്ട്സ്, ഇന്ന് ഇന്ത്യൻ എക്സ്പ്രസ് 5-ാം തീയതിയിലത്തെ എഡിറ്റോറിയൽ പേജിൻ്റെ ഒരു പാസേജാണ് വായിക്കുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, റെഡി, സ്റ്റാർട്ട്. ഇറ്റ്സ് ടീച്ചേഴ്സ് ഡേ ആൻഡ് ഐ തോട്ട് ഇറ്റ് വുഡ് ബി നൈസ് ടു എക്സ്പ്ലോർ ancient wisdom other than our own. Let us cross the Himalayas to China, setting geopolitics aside for a moment. I like this story about Confucius, the Ionic Chinese guru. Someone told Confucius, repay an injury with kindness. Confucius said, if you reward injury with kindness, what will you reward kindness with? You should repay an injury with justice and kindness with kindness. This sensible story about not turning the other cheek meekly cleared my head of the cobwebs that have confused Indians for decades. Another teaching story that I found both modern and moral and would like to retell is about Yan Ying, a famous contemporary of Confucius who lived 2500 years ago in the state of Qi. This is in the present day Chinese provinces of Shandong and Hebei. In passing, I recall the miles of deep pink roses planted on either side of the modern Shandong road. It was a beautiful sight. Yan Ying was sent by Duke Jing, the ruler of Qi, the governed Dong province. By the end of 3 years, so many complaints about him had reached Duke Jing that he decided to relieve Yan Ying of his post and summoned him to that effect. I see the error of my ways now, Your Highness. If you give me another 3 years, I promise I will improve, said Yan Ying in a composed manner. 3 years later, there were 1,000 good reports about Yan Ying, which the Duke heard and was pleased. He summoned Yan Ying to court to be rewarded for his good services in Donghe. But Yan Ying disagreed. During my first tenure at Donghe, he told the surprised Duke, I built roads, wells, shelters, schools and hospitals. I cleaned up corruption in government. I advocated frugal living and urged people to respect their parents and behave responsibility to family and society. I punished criminals. I gave a fair hearing to all people without indulging the rich and powerful. When people asked me for favors, I only gave them what was permissible. When I had to entertain my superiors, I did not go above the limit. That was why all those people spoke ill of me. The second time, I changed my way of governance. I did not undertake public works. I gave corrupt officers a free hand. Criminals were punished. I didn't say a word about frugal living. I granted all woes in full. I let the rich and powerful have their way. I lavished hospitality on my seniors. Everyone praised me, and in time you heard those compliments. I should be rewarded for my first 3 years of work and punished for the last 3. So I do not deserve a reward now. Duke Jing was so impressed that the appointed Yan Ying the Prime Minister of Qi. The story goes that Qi soon became a very prosperous state. Once, when Confucius visited Duke Jing, he refused to meet Yan Ying because he doubted his integrity. This was because Yan Ying had served 3 dukes in his career. When Yan Ying was told this, he was shocked. I served 3 dukes because they all had the same goal of peace and prosperity. I would not have served even 1 duke otherwise. I had with regard for Confucius. But now I am not so sure, he said. These remarks by Yan Ying spread fast and reached Confucius. He realized his error of judgment, which was fueled by loose chat and incomplete information, and sincerely apologized to Yan Ying. That was the effect of social media then. It was made us masters of information today, but are we also acquiring knowledge? This story tells its own tale. Jadestone is a precious object in Chinese culture. There was a young Chinese man who wanted to become an expert on jade. He went to a jade master and shyly asked to become his pupil. The great teacher invited him to sit and conversed pleasantly with him over bowls of green tea. He asked him to come back that next day. The teacher had a big collection of jade pieces and carved jade bowls, fingers, and ornaments in white, light and dark green, and spinach or streaky jade. They were from the eras of many Chinese dynasties and some were valuable antiques. When the young man arrived, the teacher invited him to sit in the garden. He gave him a piece of jade to hold. He fetched tea and spoke about painting, music, and dance. He did not say a word about jade. After an hour, he asked the young man to come back the next day. The second day was exactly like first. The teacher gave the young man a piece of jade to hold and talked about everything under the sun except jade. This went on for a year, 2 years, and 4. Finally, the young man gathered the courage to ask, "Respected teacher, when may I learn about jade?" The master smiled gently and said, "Tomorrow." When the excited young man arrived, the teacher, as usual, gave him a piece to hold. But the minute he held it, the young man leaped up crying, "This is not jade." The lesson was to engage closely and consistently with your subject to know it. As we say in India, let good thoughts come to us from every side. Stop.